I attribute everything that I am doing now to one experience. That was a huge turning point for me in recognizing and noticing how actions, words, and beliefs actually can change another person's mindset and motivation and achievement. I cannot wait to tell you the story about art class. Take a listen. Not only am I going to share a story with you today, but a very important life lesson that came out of teaching an art class. Now, a little bit more about me and backing up quite a bit. I knew that I wanted to be a teacher when I was 5 years old in Mrs. Kuhlman's kindergarten class. I just watched her all day and saw the love she was pouring into her students, and I knew that is what I wanted to be. My first grade teacher, shout out to Mrs. Homan, and my second grade teacher, Mrs. Coleman, just solidified this love for the classroom and for education. Going into my high school career, I actually thought I wanted to teach English, and I very quickly learned English class was not for me, and that social studies with history and geography and sociology and psychology were the lane that I really wanted to go into, and I really wanted to make it engaging for other people to learn and grow and think. And so I went into college knowing that I wanted to be a social studies teacher. I had the most incredible advisor, Clark Johnson, shout out to you, because he walked me through literally in August before my freshman year, how to get through school in 4 years, kind of the fast track. And he just really paved the way for me to be successful in college. I got out of school and got a job right away. First summer, had an interview and got hired as a social studies teacher. I then taught for 9 years, absolutely loving it, loving building relationships with kids, creating a culture where I thought kids could really thrive in. However, through that journey, and we will not focus on this too much, I started to go down a very negative path. And at one moment, my husband looked at me and said, "I have never known you to be this negative." And for those of you who know my husband, he is not a man of many words. He kind of keeps his thoughts to himself. And for him to share this with me was a big deal. And I took a full day of reflection saying to myself, wow, where have you gone? The positive, upbeat, sees the bright in everything and everybody was really starting to dim. And I decided to take a year off. It turned into 2 years off. I was pregnant with my second child and was able to have him and not need to take only that, 12 weeks off of teaching. I got to have 2 full years with him. And it just so happened there was an opportunity for me to go back into the classroom. And I felt ready. I had been rejuvenated. I will have to tell you another time about what I learned in those 2 years while I managed a nonprofit. But when I went back, there was no social studies openings. However, there was an opening for a long-term substitute position in art class. Big shout out to Paula Garais, who had the entire curriculum laid out for me. I was going to be able to walk in and just manage, right? And I thought, oh, this will be so easy. Let me tell you that everything I learned about creating a culture where other people thrive, I learned in these 2 months, or at least it set me up as a starter block of learning so that I could continue to learn and grow about learning about humans and culture. What I learned the first week of art class was students who felt confident in their art abilities were quiet and productive and creative and just really thrived. And the students who questioned their creativity and questioned what they were supposed to be producing and questioned how good their work was going to be in the end did not thrive. And because I taught in the same district just 2 years prior, it was amazing to me to notice that my students who thrived in social studies typically did not thrive in art class. And the students who did not succeed in social studies thrived in art class. Let me give you an example. I had a student who used to come to social studies, put his head down, refuse to do his work, ask to go to the bathroom, ask to go get a drink nonstop. Great kid, just did not thrive in my social studies environment. Comes into art class, is asking questions, is engaging with the material, is doing his work, is helping others, is producing high quality, creative stuff. And here I was thinking, everything I thought about students' abilities is kind of being flipped on its head right now. This is not how I thought kids learned. I thought kids learned by having an incredible teacher. That's right. Egotistical me thought it was me. It's not you. Those of you that are teaching or leading, it's not you giving them the content that is helping them learn. What it is you are doing as an educator, as a leader, as a boss, is creating an environment and a belief in them for them to thrive. And that is what was different in art class. The students who believed they had the skills to be good in art thrived in art. The students who did not believe in themselves, did not have the confidence in their creative abilities, they crashed and burned. They were coming up to me crying. They were telling me, "Can you come look at this? Tell me what score am I going to get?" The type A students just could not handle this new environment where you learn as you go. They were just wanting the answers to the test, which sadly is what I was producing as a social studies teacher prior to this. Crazy situation happens 2 months into my art sub job. I'm about to step down. The art teacher is coming back from her maternity leave. And one of the social studies teachers in the building resigns. If you want to talk about divine intervention, like there it was. I was able, after an interview process, to step back into the social studies classroom. And I came in with a completely different filter. I now saw human beings as balls of energy that, when given confidence, would be able to go after any goal and learn in a way that was best for them. I started seeing individuals as individuals. I started noticing people for their strengths instead of focusing on their weaknesses. And if you were to talk to any of the students that I came back and worked with, they would say I was a completely different teacher, focused on very different things. I was no longer teaching content and curriculum. Instead, I was engaging students in their strengths and really inspiring them and motivating them to step into who they were, and using social studies content in a way for them to do that. Now, if you are a leader out in the workforce, I want you to think about this story. Instead of looking at our employees of they struggle with this or this is not their high point, think about what they do well. And they do that thing well because they're confident in their skills in that area. So when we can grow people's confidence that they can do and will do their best at whatever skill they need to accomplish, I truly believe this is where you're going to see a huge impact in the productivity, in the quality of work that is coming out of them. If you are seeing a lack of quality, if you are seeing someone who struggles and is constantly asking you for help, or maybe they're asking you to look things over, it is a confidence issue. And when we as leaders can instill confidence in them and belief in them that they have the skills to do what their job entails, I am telling you right now that you are going to see more engagement, you are going to see more energy, and you are going to see more productivity. And as leaders, that's what we want to see out of our people. Yes, we want them hitting goals, sure. But more so, when we grow their confidence that they have the ability to hit those goals, they will be more excited to do that themselves. And now they're not doing it for you, they're doing it for them. As you are out there leading, I want you to really investigate this. Who on your team might just need a little confidence boost? If you look around during team meetings or as you're walking through the office, I want you to look for that person who is always asking you for help, or maybe they are coming up to you to have you look something over really quick before they send it off. And really instill in them that you believe that they have the skills to do this task, that you trust them to do this task, and that you are confident in them accomplishing this task. Obviously, we want to let them know that you are here to help them and support them, but they might just need that little bit of confidence boost to know that what they are doing makes a difference. Why do I feel so compelled to tell this story? The lack of confidence that I saw in the classroom when I came back in 2016 was very different from what I saw in 2005. Let me tell you, in 2005, when I started teaching, almost all of my students, I taught 7th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade, and almost all of them knew or had an idea or had a dream of what they were going to be, where they were going to work, where they wanted to go to college. They had these dreams and they had this confidence about them that like this was going to happen, which was so exciting to hear out of young people. When I came back into that art classroom and then back into the social studies classroom in 2016, it was night and day. I maybe had a handful of students who knew what they wanted to be, where they wanted to go, and what they wanted to do for school. Instead, I had students saying, why do I need to know this? I'm never going to use this because I'm never going to get a job. I'm never going to be what I want to be. I'm never going to be able to fulfill this dream I have. And I was like, whoa, hold the bus. Why not? And what came out of them was this disbelief in themselves. If you have people on your team who are under age 30, that is when I would say I definitely saw that split of individuals who were not confident in their abilities and not really believing that they can go learn a new skill. So if you have that younger generation of workers, I really, really, really want you to pay attention to what you believe their confidence level is. Do they feel confident in their job? Do they feel confident in their skills? And if you notice that they're not, approach them and ask, hey, what would be helpful for you to feel more confident in this part of your job? And then listen. Be sure to set them up with the resources and the time and the energy it will take them to acquire that new skill. And now maybe you've already recognized in them they have the skill, they just don't have the confidence. Say that. I notice that when you're working on this, you ask me a lot of questions, but I need you to know you are doing exactly what I need you to be doing, and you should be confident in the ability that you produce high quality work. Kids weren't hearing it as much as the previous generation was. I know I hear so often from leaders in the business world, but Anne, I should not need to say that to them. I should not need to tell them, good job, keep it up. You should be confident. They should just be confident. They're not. End of story. They're not confident. They did not grow up in a world that told them they could be anything. They grew up in a world watching other people succeed in a very narrow window instead of looking at all people growing and learning. They saw YouTubers, they saw influencers become very successful very quickly, and they see their path as failure to that. So I want you to step into that space as a leader, that you are here to help them grow in their confidence so that they can produce that high quality work that you hired them to do, and that you know, and that you are confident that they can go and do. What are 3 ways you can help grow someone else's confidence? Let's say you look around the office, you definitely recognize that there is a confidence issue. First and foremost, you need to start celebrating successes with this individual. Now, I was culture coaching with a company over a year ago, and the CEO of the company says to me, I'm really excited. I'm going to start celebrating the successes of one individual every week, and we're going to blast it out on our company newsletter. When the CEO said this, other leaders in the room, a few of them looked down. And I thought, ooh, here's a real quick teachable moment. So I had called on a couple of the others to share their thoughts on that way of celebrating. And one of them said, if you do this with workers in the shop, they will shut down. They do not want to be recognized across the entire company. And so I had asked, what do you think would work better? And he said, definitely come and speak with the employee one-on-one and let them know what you thought about their work. So I want to make sure to share that because I think it's really important. I am someone who is motivated by words of affirmation. If someone were to tell me how great of a job I was doing, I would want them to be shouting it from the rooftops. That is my personality. But that is not the personality of everyone. And so really make sure that you celebrate successes with them individually. If you feel the need to share this success with others, ask permission. That is going to help grow trust with that individual and also just help build that relationship with them as well. But really be celebrating their wins. So often, some of us don't even think of our wins as wins because we're just robots someday, right? And if we have a confidence issue and we're doing this same task over and over and it's awesome and you're noticing it, speak up and celebrate the success and celebrate that win with that person. It is really going to help grow their confidence. Number 2, another way to grow confidence in someone else is to ask their opinion and then listen. You're going to hear me say that a lot in these podcast episodes. We have to ask questions and then we need to actively listen to the answers. And then if you hear a response or an opinion that you really like, make sure you are moving forward. So if you are asking for help, looking for a solution, and they give you a solution, make sure you are stating how much you appreciate that and then move forward and follow through with that solution. That is going to help grow confidence that they are a member of the team, that they are valued and that they are trusted. And therefore, that is going to help them grow in their confidence of that as that team member. Lastly, I want you to empower this team member and then delegate tasks accordingly. So just notice what are some of their strengths and say something like, Jessica, you're really great at this skill. I would love for you to take the lead on that in the next quarter or whatever it is. Make sure that you are letting them know there is a reason you are asking them to complete this task, and it's because you are confident in their abilities. So really make sure to empower them by stating what they're good at and noticing those strengths, but then delegating a task to them that is really going to help grow their confidence. Last December, I had worked with a security firm, and one of the leaders of that within the managerial team said to me, I was not confident as a young person, but I had a chief of police seek me out and say, I think you have the ability to lead this department one day. And because of that, I'm going to give you this task. Just think about that. That chief had the confidence in this person before that person had the confidence in themselves. And you as a leader get to do that for others. You get to notice those strengths and really share with them that you see that in them and you see a future for them. Going back to that art class and going back to my early teaching career, that is what was missing. My early students, they saw a future for themselves. They saw a place in that future. And my students, when I came back into the classroom in 2016, they didn't know what their future held. They were unsure that it would even be a good future. And so really painting a picture for them and helping them vision cast, which I'll do in another episode, but really helping them see where they potentially could go, helped them stay motivated and self-motivated to achieve in my classroom. The years that followed that art teaching position really were filled with fueling students up and then just sitting back and watching them thrive. And that is exactly what you can be doing with your team by building up their confidence. Time for the big question. What if it works? What if you put in the time celebrating successes or asking for opinions or empowering someone on your team and delegating a task and it works? It increases their confidence. That could change the trajectory of their life, the trajectory of a relationship that they are in, because you stepped into that leadership role and inspired them to see and believe in their true potential. Do you see this lack of confidence in the workplace, either in team members of yours or coworkers of yours, or maybe even in your leadership? Or do you see this lack of confidence in your own home? Head on over to Instagram at Ann Vote. That's ANNVOTE. Look for the episode 2 graphic and let me know in the comments if you are seeing either a lack of confidence or maybe you're seeing incredible confidence in the workplace. Either way, tell me your thoughts. I can't wait to hear from you and connect with you on this topic of confidence. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And thank you for leading change.